Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Bitcoin trade. This is going to be chart analysis here, maybe a little bit of news and everything, but here is a 2 hour of Bitstamp. Now if you look back here, I'm going to go back at a 1 day. And I kind of cleaned up the chart just a little bit to make it a little bit easier. Let me wipe this off here. There we go. Okay. Just trying to get it to focus, but there it goes. So here's the overall 1 day. And basically you're looking at this hard resistance here, and it's bouncing up, and finally hit this support, which it broke through a little bit, then came right back and pushed back up, and you know, it's riding along that resistance line. So if I zoom in just a little bit more, right there, you're kind of seeing it. There you go. So this is 6 hours, so you're kind of seeing that it broke through slightly, but it's retreated back down, and it's just skirting this resistance, and it may just skirt around for a little while, and like I said, it may range up and down here, which ironically it did. It hit here and then it's going down, and may range back down here between these two price range here, and it may do that for a while. But if it breaks up above this line, I think that's a really good sign for you know, you're back on an uptrend. So that's kind of what I see here. This is just a really simple, clean chart of it. But if you just keep zooming in, I mean, you kind of see more details on how the price action moved. And so you finally get to a 2 hour, and you can kind of see what's going on. And you'll see this better in some other charts. This one I just cleaned up, so it's really simple to look at. So, you know, on a 6 hour, I just look at it and go, well, it's doing something, but it's still thinking about breaking through this, above this line right here, this resistance here, which I think this is kind of a resistance to this and that, but it's following this resistance here, this line in particular. So let me go over some quick news before I go through the other charts. And okay, so you know, Coinbase has kind of been good, although it missed, I think, an important news about Bitcoins and PAX, and so hopefully they'll report on that maybe when it's more, you know, substantial. But something I wanted to go back on was Local Bitcoins releases investigation report on site wallet issues. So I do want to look at that because I do use Local Bitcoins. I use many different exchanges just to mitigate my risk in trading Bitcoins. And here it is. There's a link on that article, and it talks about all that what happened. And so far in my experience with Local Bitcoins is that I haven't had this issue. But then again, you know, I'll tell you something. I do get scammed once in a while. You know, there's some, you know, really bad apples out there, and you know, I would definitely classify these users, some of these users, as cyber terrorists, and to some degree a financial terrorist. There are people who are on Local Bitcoins, and they prey upon other users. You know, they're real. They're out there. I think I made an episode on that, and if you just read along on it, I mean, it it mentions that, right here, this particular, the claim two-factor authentication breach from one particular user. Um, Supposedly, from what I read from Local Bitcoin's investigation, is that user used. Of course, you got your login, your username, and then your password. And if you have two-factor authentication, you have usually on your smartphone, one-time passwords that I don't know if they're every 30 seconds or every minute or everything, but they're constantly changing. For this to happen, I mean, to get your, authenticator compromised, it's kind of weird, because that means, someone has to know, someone must have had access to your authenticator. I'm not a computer scientist, okay? I'm not an expert in computer forensics or anything. I'm just speaking from my mind as I see it. It just seems kind of weird. And there's a lot of people who scam, who are fraudulent in their activities with on Local Bitcoins. And if you're new to localbitcoins.com, most of the people that are preyed upon by these cyber terrorists are new users, often. And you can kind of tell if you look at their ratings. If they're not 100, there's sometimes there could be some misunderstanding. But if they're not at 99 or 98%, on their trustworthiness, they're probably not very trustworthy, So, but as far as any breaches that I've experienced, I haven't had any breaches yet, but you never know. But for a user to, go around and make claims of something happened, I don't know how true that is, because maybe it is, maybe it's not. But to have your smartphone authenticator, have your authenticator is usually on your smartphone, and if you have that compromised along with your username and password, I don't know what to say. I mean, when you deal with Bitcoins, either on Local Bitcoins or any exchange or any wallet, take it really serious, because that is valuable. Your Bitcoins are valuable. And you know how, another way I know that Bitcoins are real, as far as value, they hold real value, they are worth something, is the fact that so many people out there, there's so many cyber terrorists and financial terrorists out there trying to get your Bitcoins. That's how I know that Bitcoins are truly valuable. They are worth something. They are so important that someone who, they have to have some intellect and some intelligence to use, a computer, and to steal your username and your password. I mean, some intellect and some intelligence. In other words, they intend. It's not like you accidentally stole someone's Bitcoin. It's not like you can find it on the ground and you look around, there's no one around, and you just, oops, well, I guess, no one's going to claim this Bitcoin, I'm going to put it in my pocket. There are people who are actively trying to fraudulently, okay, because you can't physically steal Bitcoin, right? You have to have someone send you a Bitcoin, so you have to commit a fraud in order to do that, because you have no intention of ever, doing any kind of exchange, especially for, you don't have any intention of legally, exchanging legal tender for Bitcoins. Their intent is to, um, you know, uh, commit a fraud, basically through, um, scamming or reversing in funds or claiming fraud, or they may have hacked into someone's bank account and gotten their information and then use that to try to pay. There's all sorts of things. But the fact that someone's really trying to take your Bitcoin by committing fraud, that just shows you how valuable Bitcoins are. It's almost like if there would be such an index as a cyber terrorist index or financial terrorist index, the higher that index, the more valuable Bitcoin is. The more valuable Bitcoin is. Unfortunately, there is no cyber terrorist index or financial terrorist index. So, but the fact that someone is willing to commit a crime to take your Bitcoins from you just shows how valuable Bitcoins really are. Why don't they just steal money? Well, because money's not as valuable as Bitcoin. You think these people would skip the whole Bitcoin and go after legal tender, but it's hard for them to do that because if they do it, they're going to have basically all of the U.S. government on their asses. So they're going after Bitcoin. And at some point, Bitcoin is going to be really, really valuable because of these criminals. Because what's going to happen? Well, it's going to, demand for Bitcoins are going to rise, but the amount of Bitcoins that are available is going to go down because of these cyber terrorists. That's all I have to say. I mean, it's going to get to that point, and at some point, and I'm going to lead to some other stuff, but at some point there's going to be some laws made where if you commit a fraud and it involves Bitcoin, there could be some repercussions because there is no laws on this specifically for Bitcoin, but that can change. I mean, that can easily change. A lot of things can change. I mean, if you want something done or you want something changed, you can do it. And this leads to my other things here. So let's get off of that. And everyone can read this and come to your own conclusions on what happened. I think it's I'm not trying to blame the user, but I just find it weird that what happened. It's just strange. Someone must have access to you, personal information, user information, password information, and your authenticator. That's a lot of work. I don't know how much Bitcoins this person lost. Doesn't say. But to have all that compromised, you should probably change your name, move to another location, get another job, even change your maybe social security number, get a whole new social security number, get a whole new identity. Because if someone can do that to you, you're pretty much screwed. Or there could be a possible chance that the guy's just fraudulent. The person making, we live in a day and age where people claim fraud. People fraudulently claim fraud. They act as the victim when they're really the perpetrator. That could be a possibility. So, anyways, let's go on to the next one. And I know I talked about this before. I just want to just elaborate just a little bit more because, I feel sometimes powerless in a lot of ways when it comes to Bitcoin. I feel like I'm being, I'm subjected to government agencies on their interpretations of the laws, or the laws that are in place right now, and how they treat it as far as how they treat Bitcoin with the laws, and there could be a lot of interpretations of the law that, or misinterpretations of the law that could be applied to Bitcoin. There's nothing specifically about Bitcoin, so of course this is let me see here. Who is this person? I think this guy's name is Greg Abbott. He's running for governor. He's accepting Bitcoins as contributions, and so again, has to do with Texas, and I live in Texas, so don't mess with Texas or its Bitcoin contributions. And here's another article about that. Oh, there he goes. Texas's Greg Abbott welcomes the Bitcoin community to his campaign. And I did an episode on PACs, and this could be a way that Bitcoin can be used to influence elections, influence laws, influence lawmakers, and I see this in the future, maybe in the future that's coming up in a couple years, but I see Bitcoin can influence a presidential campaign, a senatorial campaign, I guess, a federal campaign, federal elections, state elections, local elections. This is amazing. Bitcoin has more play in the future, and I just kind of want to bring this up here real quick. Is PACs? What are PACs? What the hell is a PAC? And so let's take a look at what a PAC is. And thank goodness for the internet, because if you really want to know something, you can literally just Google it. Also go to your local library and consult with others. But a PAC is basically a political action committee, and I'm really considering making some kind of Bitcoin super PAC, in which the members of this PAC, either through donations or through investing, can, let me see, how do they say? It says here, let me see, in the United States, a political action committee, PAC, is a type of organization that pools campaign contribution from members and donates those funds to campaign for or against candidates. So like negative ads, putting out flyers how this candidate is bad and this candidate's good. So literally, if anyone's hostile, and I really mean anyone's hostile towards Bitcoin, you can form a PAC, and you can for or against candidates. You can go against a candidate. So, and you can try to get them out of office. I don't know who was that senator that tried to recommended banning Bitcoin. I mean, we should get them out. Put some negative ads on that person, whatever, however it works. I mean, and there's no such thing as a super PAC. It's just a PAC. The super PAC is just a phrase that's been coined. You like that joke? Super PAC is a phrase that's been coined for typically large PACs. Very large PACs that gets a tremendous amount of funds come in. But I guess any PAC you can say is a super PAC. It's just a coined phrase. So there's some history behind her. Just basic history. Let me see what's to talk about. Oh yeah, here you go. Okay, at the federal level, an organization, another thing I want to bring up, it doesn't have to be a candidate. It can also be any ballot initiative or legislation. And so, you're either through education or, I don't know, grassroots efforts or whatever, any one of these, for or against, any of these. So your voice can be heard, and so let me read the next, and this is just Wikipedia, and when I googled it, that's what came up. So, but of course, you probably want to consult some legal counsel before you start getting really into this. But I'm sure there's some guidelines here. Let me see. But it says here. Let me see. At the federal level, an organization becomes a PAC when it receives or spends more than $1,000 for the purpose of influencing a federal election, according to the Federal Election Campaign Act. So, I mean, it shouldn't be too hard to become a PAC. What is that? 2 Bitcoins right now? So, I can't seem to. There we go. And then at the state level, organization becomes a PAC according to the state elections laws. Okay, so whatever the state election laws are. So, this idea of forming some kind of super Bitcoin PAC, or a Bitcoin super PAC, I mean, it's possible. It's doable. And if a lot of people, if a lot of Bitcoin users out there who don't like the way they're being treated right now, as far as how they're being treated through their banks, how they're being treated through the IRS, how they're being treated through law enforcement, well, you can change that. You can participate in a process, and I think in the future you're going to see a lot of Bitcoin PACs that are going to come out, and they're going to express their voice for or against any candidates, ballot initiatives, or legislation. And I think Congress, your local government, your local state governments, and federal governments, any election that's going to be coming up, you're going to be hearing a lot from some form of Bitcoin super PACs. And you may even be shocked of how much Bitcoin is going to have influence on politics. All right, you may be shocked. You'll be like, wow, there's that many people who are Bitcoin users, or crypto, or even cryptocurrency users. It could be a super crypto PAC. It doesn't have to be Bitcoin in particular. I mention Bitcoin a lot because that's the main thing right now, but it doesn't have to be exclusive to Bitcoin. It can be, an overall cryptocurrency PAC. All right, so I think, if you wanted to, I wouldn't say, I'll say, if you want to fight back, this is a way to fight back. All right, this is a way to fight back. So if you're tired of being run over, pushed around, which sometimes, as a cryptocurrency user, I feel that way sometimes. I feel like I'm being run over sometimes, or pushed around. It gets to the point where I feel like, man, my back's to a corner. I've got to push back. So, anyways, some more information on that. I did an episode previously on that. you know, and who knows, maybe this guy will be the governor of Texas. And, you know, at least he's getting some exposure by doing this. Who knows? I know there's a lot of people in Texas who who are trading bitcoins, who are investors of Bitcoin. They probably want to see Texas on the forefront of any Bitcoin legislation or guidance, or some form of representation. Because right now I think Bitcoin users are not fairly represented, for a couple of reasons. I mean, there's the whole I can't seem to say it right now. Anonymity. There's a whole anonymity of it. So because of that, you can't really say, well, so and so wants this, or a group of people want, to do this, because they don't know who the group of people are, right? But I think through some kind of pack, you can stay anonymous, but the pack itself can be a voice. You can donate anonymously. I would assume that this Super Bitcoin pack or cryptocurrency pack would be investing in cryptocurrencies, and that's another way to raise funds to, for or against a campaign, ballot initiative, or legislation. Big. I think it's big. It's a big step for Bitcoin, or cryptocurrencies, I should say. So let's go back to chart analysis here. Excuse me. So this is BitC, and this is on 2 hour, but I'll back up again on a daily and show you what all I did. Cleaned it up a little bit after everything's happened, and each chart is telling me something different, but as a whole, it gives me a really good idea of what's going on. So you know that this is the hard resistance here, which is nowhere near the price action. This is the other resistance that I think it's been following, and I put a line there, and if you see it, it's broken through, but it has not broken through between these two ranges. So that's, it's ranging right now, and it's definitely broken through out of this downtrend here. So that's pretty apparent on this chart. Question is, I think in every chart it shows that it has not clearly broken through this resistance now, which was a support, and I think once it breaks through there, well, it's probably going into demand. So that's BitC. And let's go 6 hour, and then finally a 2 hour, and you can see how it's playing along this line here. It's just bouncing, and you see more details on how the price is reacting, and it's bouncing along this particular line. It seems like it may even keep bouncing back until it comes back down here and just shoot up again. I mean, it's hard to tell, but if you're doing any average costing like I am, you'll always be in the action. And as a matter of fact, I'll go on to the next chart here and talk about it a little bit. So that was BitC, and then this is Bitfin. Okay, Bitfin right here, and let's go on to a daily, so you can see, and Bitfin is different, and that's just how I have to play it. So this is like a pivot area, but basically from here to here, you're seeing this line right here. This is the line that's coming out. So it's clearly showing that a break has occurred. The next one is from here. I'm sorry. From here to here is actually this middle line right here, the middle line. So it's broken out and showing it's breaking out, but it showed that same thing right around here as well. And then from here to here is this line, which has broken through, and then this new one is from here to this new high, which happens to almost be right here between these two ranges again, and And that's what you're seeing. And this is more of a fan instead of a channel or any resistance. These are acts more like a fan. But if I zoom in, and you get to see the price action, um, you see the price action and how it reacted to those fan lines. As I zoom in more, you can kind of see more of that price action and what's happened. And so here it is. As it shoots up, it plays along this line, and it shoots up, bounce out, plays along this line, and then shoots up and plays along that line. And now you're seeing it play along this top line here as it's going. It's downtrending, but you see how it, when you get more detailed into it, it reacts to those lines amazingly. And here's another one of it here. Let's go back to a 6 hour, and you can see how it's reacting. And who knows, it may bounce down a little bit until it has to break out here, and then it'll break out again and maybe hit this line and then bounce on that line until it just breaks out. And that's just a possibility. It could break down as well. But again, you're looking at these two lines here, which I think are going to be, well, it's going to be a big play. If it goes below this, it's going to go down. If it goes above this, it's going to be going up. And so with Bitfin now, if anybody trades on Bitfin here, when I talk about averaging your cost, putting different buy orders in at different price points, or at different prices, like I talked about, I think in my previous episodes. Not only can you do that for your limit orders, but you can do that for your buying stop orders. Okay, in other words, based on the price, you could put a buy order above the current price. So as the price goes up, you can participate on the upward momentum. On the price going down, you can short on the downward momentum. So depending on what you do, you put a buy stop order, meaning a buy stop order means that you're going to put a buying order above the current price. So when it moves up, as the price moves up, you're buying. So you're buying on the upward momentum. And that's kind of unique that Bitfin offers that some of the other exchanges don't, because the only way you can put a buy order in is on a market price. So you have to be there you have to be there to push the button to buy Bitcoins on an upward momentum. The only way, most other exchanges are using limit orders. In other words, the price has to be below. So you can only do two things: buy at market price, so you have to actually be there, or put in a limit order. With Bitfin, it's really, the platform is really designed more like a Forex that I've seen, where you can, well, the Forex that I've done, and to some degree some stocks and everything, but the point is that you don't have to be there. If you're comfortable on setting a price on what you want to buy above or below the current price, you can do that, and then you don't have to be at your computer all the time. And if you're comfortable with that strategy, you shouldn't have to always constantly be at the computer sweating bullets, or trying to figure out when to buy, when to sell, when to push that button again, when to push it again, and when to push it again. So and you can do that on your sell orders too. You can put a sell order below the price or above the price. Right now, if you want to sell something on some of the other exchanges, you have to put a limit sell order, which means it has to go up in price in order for you to sell, versus going down in price, where you have to actually be there, at your computer or wherever, to push the button to push the sell order, to put a market order in. And Bitfin, of course, will also do market orders. They also do trailing stops. both on the buy and sell, I believe. So um, that kind of platform is it's useful for a heavy trader, and especially someone who understands the buy stops and the sell stops and the limit orders on a buy limit, sell limit, trailing stops, trailing on both on the buy and the sell. So if you understand those, you can. I still don't quite understand the liquidity portion of Bitfin and all that, or you know, um, and then of course you have margin trading as well on Bitfin. Um, so there's a lot of things you can do, a lot of different more exotic trading. I say exotic in the fact that it offers something that some of the other major like Bitsy, Bitstamp, and Coinbase don't offer. As far as limit orders, limit stops. I'm sorry, limit orders, stop orders, both on the buy and sell, and trailing stops, both on buy and sell. Margin trading, things like that, liquidity swaps. So if you're it seems more like an institutional investor would really like Bitfin, because it just has a lot of those features that um, an institutional investor um, is already used to, or already has knowledge of those kind of functions. Um, so, anyways, that's just adding more information for anybody out there who's interested. And then finally, let's go ahead and take a look at Coinbase. And this is a 15-minute or 2-hour, but let's go. Well, the daily is not going to help you too much. I just simply did a fan based on the information available here on Bitcoin Wisdom. And as I go in, there's something to it, because look at the way the price action is moving within those lines that I've drawn up here. And again, these lines only make sense because I put them there. But at the same time, you can't ignore them, because if you look at it, it's then again, everything's hindsight 2020, right? That's the problem with trading. You can fall into a trap of paralysis by analysis. I've mentioned that before. But hindsight 2020, everything makes sense. It's pretty obvious I should have done this or that. But in reality, you just got to make the trade. You just got to feel that that a buy order is necessary or a sell order is necessary, and you just have to do it. Now, if you have a plan, you just put the price in that where you want to buy and sell, and then that's it. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to have faith in your plan and your strategy. So have a strategy, have a plan, and how you're going to trade. If you just feel like buying, then just feel like buying. If you feel like selling, feel like selling. But at least have a plan. Don't get stuck by paralysis, because you'll never. It's true, if you don't make a trade, you'll never lose money. But then again, you'll never make any money. So I don't say, or I'm sorry, Bitcoins. You'll never make any Bitcoins or lose any Bitcoins. Some people aren't in it for the money; they're in it for the Bitcoins. Okay. So when I say money, I'm usually talking about, value, transferring value onto a Bitcoin and back into legal tender and such. But whatever works for you. So there's Coinbase, and then it's reacting the same way. Let's pull out to 6 hours. It's just reacting the same way. And again, look at that. It just stops at the 2 points here of this range. And how long will it do that? I don't know. But the good news is it's staying up here, and it's looks like it's really trying to break through, and it's just testing it, and just keeps testing it. It's a good sign. It's better than this and then going back down right away. It's going up and then looks like it's trying to test it again, but there is some downward pressure here, always a downward pressure, always another triangle that it's trying to break up or down. So just something for you all to get used to. Anyways, this is a little bit longer episode. Well, since I'm already at this much time, I might as well just go ahead and go over this. And oops, sorry, I got my piece of hair in here. So this is a BTC on a 5-day hourly weighted average, and here's what is going on. So it's in an uptrend here because it's got a band, but it looks like it's closing in, and it may turn over. So that's BTC. So it's kind of off of its recent highs, and then it's bouncing up again. So there you go on that. And then Bitstamp. And Bitstamp, you can see BTC is showing this being crossed over. Bitstamp has not yet. So there could be some indication of weakness on BTC, and BTC's kind of been leading. A lot of things that's been going on BTC has been kind of forecasting. I know that's strange, but and here's Bitfin, and Bitfin has just it looks like it's just crossing over right here, and so there could be a turn going down. So it's not uncommon for a price after moving up to move down a little bit and then go back up again. I mean, that just happens. See, I mean, if you look at here, it just happens, you know, and then goes up again and goes down and up. So you know, Bitfin is showing that it is turning over. So in other words, that the price action is going down. But it's just remember, this is just another analysis. It doesn't mean it will go down. It's just there to help you, so you can help. And you know, when I look at this, it's just a strategy for me to put in some limit orders or stops, whatever. You know, so I don't have to be at the computer all the reacting be emotionally tied to the price, you know, and then just pushing buttons. I can just have a strategy, set a price, set my orders, and then I don't know, go make myself a sandwich and enjoy the sun. You know, go out in the sun. It's spring. It's warmer. I mean, I'm walking, taking a walk. I might do some more jogging episodes or whatever. And then here's an indication of, if you just looked at this, you would say the prices are going up. All right, just looking at this. Now remember, a couple weeks this was all red. Now it's all green. So if you just look at this, if you want a very simple analysis, if you saw this would be a buying signal. Everything's green. All right. If all the other stuff is too complicated, this is a real simple way to for a buying or selling signal. Is this all green? Buy. Is this all red? Sell. Very simple. All right. All right. This concludes this episode. Please feel free to comment, like, dislike, or even leave a video response. Until next time, stay tuned.